Hello and welcome to Security Matters. It's a program that highlights the activities of the Nigerian military and its sister service. I am your host, Kikelomo Okere. Today we'll be discussing the fight against insurgency, curbing insecurity in the Northwest. The Honourable Minister of State for Defence, Dr. Bello Matawalle, has expressed his sadness over the activities of terrorists and bandits terrorizing Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina and Kebbi State and its environs. The Minister of State directed the Chief of Defence Staff and other military chiefs to move to Sokoto, which is the headquarters of the GOC, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina and Kebbi State, with him as part to intensify efforts by the federal government to rid the Northwest of the menace of banditry, kidnapping and terrorism. This strategic move underscores the unwavering commitment of the federal government to restoring peace and security in the region. While in the Northeast and Northwest, they will supervise operations and ensure that bandit gangs are flushed out. We will take a short break now. When we return, we will delve into the discussion with a security analyst. Please don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Security Matters, highlighting the activities of the Nigerian military and its sister service. With me via Zoom to do justice to the topic on curbing insecurity in the Northwest is a security expert, Yahuza Getso. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Good morning, my sister. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm doing well from Kano. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
You're welcome on the show.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
We are talking about curbing insecurity in the Northwest. Sir, what are the root causes of insecurity in the Northwest of Nigeria and how can it be addressed?
Well, there are 11 outline reasons for that led to insecurity in northwestern Nigeria and northern Nigeria at large. One is the farmer-herders conflict. Two, the historical antecedents of the colonial administrators setup of the Hausa, Fulani, and other tribes in the region. And three, there is some ethnic conflict that you can see that there were a number of issues between the Fulani and the Hausa and the other tribes in Kaduna and other part of the northwestern part of the country that we are discussing. And number four, there is issues around corruption, inability of the government to manage issues related to corrupt practices since they started. And number five, there is armed proliferation or managed, carelessly or managed armed proliferation that started long before. To my historical background and to my historical facts, this started far back since the years of the 1990s, because that was the period when I started reporting proliferation of arms into the possession of arms into the illegal hands of Shinkafi, Zurmi, and Bakura and Talata Mafara, and to some extent part of the Gumi local governments of the Zamfara state, and also areas of Rabah, Sabambini, Isa, as well as part of Wurno of Sokoto state, and to some extent Aleru, Mayama, Ingaski, as well as part of the Zuru Emirates in Kebbi state, and at the same time in the areas of Rijau and some of the communities of Niger states neighboring the areas of Kebbi state around the belts that link up Kebbi state with Kwara states and other areas and alike. And then Number 6, geographical distribution. Number 7, issues of unemployment have really contributed and attributed. And number 8, a rising gap between the political elite, the social elite, and administrative elites from northern Nigeria, who kept kind of cheated Sardauna and his alike, those founding fathers for northern Nigeria, because they have not built while those leaders laid the foundation. So, and number 10, lack of synergy, lack of harmony between the security agencies, because they were working in parallel. They were not working together. They were not working as a team. And number 11, I can say that inability of the government itself to facilitate the process of managing the situation when it started. Because this thing, I want to take us back to the history a little bit. This issue of insecurity started right from the onset, from the remotest part of the states where that are being affected. It started from the remotest local, hard to reach and difficult terrain areas of Zamfara State, areas of Katsina State, areas of Kebbi State, areas of Niger State, areas of Kaduna State. But because of negligence and the contribution of some of the traditional leaders, as well as other philanthropists and some other individuals who are the key players as far as security is concerned, and the inability to manage the local conflict between the vigilante and the herders and the farmers, as well as having a formidable harmonized system, operating system in terms of generating intelligence, managing intelligence, utilizing intelligence, and operational procedure between the federal formations and the local formations in terms of vigilance, in terms of policing, in terms of community-driven development. And as well, to some extent, you can also bring number 12, that is absence of governance at the local level, because the governors of the northwestern state, like every other part of the 6 geopolitical zones, they have pocketed the local governments wherever they were directing and detecting how to spend the money for local governments, and also which led to pervasive joint task force on corruption, a cycle of corruption, creating the corruption round table between the state governors to some extent, not really all of them, but many of them participated in that in the last 35 years. So in a nutshell, I can say these were the root cause and these were the causes. There may be many other things which probably can be attributed to inability of the government to provide improve the social services of the personnel, and at the same time recruitment process. That could be number 13, because we were recruiting thugs. Political thugs were being recruited, were being recommended by politicians at the local government level, politicians as members of the state assembly, members of the national assembly, members of the senate, the governors themselves, and other political leaders. They were nominating and submitting the names of political thugs as a kind of political rewards. So that have really became a bigger systematic approach that also led to backfiring into the northwestern part of the country. I think let me stop there on this.
All of these, how do you think the security forces can be reformed to effectively respond to this threat?
Well, the security institutions can be reformed by going through the outline activities that I will mention. One, there is need to conduct a total overhaul of the security architecture of the country. That is one. Secondly, there is need necessary for us to conduct massive recruitment, because we have very inadequate personnel in the military, in the Air Force, in the Army, in the Navy, in the DSS, in the police, in the mobile police, in the immigration, in the civil defense, and all the strata in the correctional center, and all the institutions that are contributing are making the security basket. We have very, very, very much inadequate number of personnel to work. So there is need to conduct a massive recruitment. I have been making suggestions and advocacy and advocating that if at all we will be sincere, honest, and serious, we should start thinking of how to engage probably 100 youths between the age of 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, up to 25 of age, at least 100 per polling unit. So if you have 10 polling units in the ward, 100 times 10 will give you 1,000. And if you have 10 political wards per local government, 1,000 times 10 will give you 10,000. So if you can pilot this into the 500 local governments out of 773 local governments that we have in Nigeria, that will be very huge, and that will be a very good opportunity, and that will really help, and that will drive us to the promised land. And that can be this, they can be trained. Those who are educated, they can be trained on left, right, about one and the rest. Those who cannot understand the English, it happens during the Biafran War and even the Civil War and all other, not only in Nigeria, even in the history, wherever war took place, or wherever fighting insecurity, insurgency, and such challenges that we have, you can easily engage them by those who didn't go to school or those who cannot understand left, right, about, and you can teach them that is by using probably a belt or a rope onto their color, red color maybe, and a green color or white color and green color on the left leg and the right leg. So you can as well at the same time telling them the green leg and the white leg and so on and so forth. And at the same time, there is absolute need to. There are a lot of allegations of corruption against many of the security agents, security personnel, and it is very necessary if we really want to do something, if we really want to be serious, if we really want to be honest, if we really want to be sincere, and if we really want to do what is the needful and what is right, there is need to kind of conduct a serious investigation, a serious checking, a serious background check on the resources acquired by some of the personnel serving and the retired, and to check the sources of their wealth. How do they acquire it? So if those allegations against corruptions are found to be true and sincerely, without fear or favor, then they should be brought back to the table so that they can face the wrath of the law. And at the same time, those who have been participating, those who have been arrested, there were a number of apprehension. Even recently, there is apprehension that made by the custom of illegal importation of arms. There are a syndicate of the armed traders, armed movers, armed marketers, and armed transporters. So there is need to break the kind of the supply chain mechanism by ensuring that we conduct a serious investigation to identify those who are participating in the armed proliferation, illegal importation, illegal distribution, armed transportation, armed movement, armed trading, and so on and so forth. So they could be dealt with. But fortunately and unfortunately for us, we always see a celebration of apprehension of container coming from Turkey, coming from this country, coming from that country to Nigeria, full of arms and ammunition and very sophisticated. You even wonder, how are these guys, the bandits and other criminals in northwestern part of the country and any other part of the country, how are they accessing those arms? And how comes Nigeria, despite the fact that we have very hardworking, very dedicated, very agile, full of capacity personnel in the army, in the air force, in the navy, in the DSS and the rest, very intellectual. We have very hardworking, very patriotic, and very passionate and compassionate about their job. But despite that, we have not been able, even the judiciary are contributing seriously into the kind of the corruption. There is need to fix the judiciary itself because they have not been doing well, and there is need for the government, any serious government, to sit down to its responsibility and check the judiciary and ensure that they are doing what is right. The traditional institutions we were found, and these have been kind of supported by His Excellencies, the Governor of Niger State, the Governor of Niger State, the Governor of Zamfara State, the Governor of Katsina State. They have been supporting my argument that even there are local institutions, local leaders, and not only local leaders, even among the politicians at the local levels, at the local government level, and the rest, they have been contributing. So those who have been alleged to be part of those who have been contributing into that, there is need to bring them to the table, and there is need to do the needful to deal with them decisively. That could serve as a deterrent. So there are many other ways the security can be kind of a mitigating strategy and so on and so forth. But let me stop there.
The security in the Northwest, it seems like the cross-border security has always been a challenge. How can the regional cooperation and collaboration be fostered to address this issue?
Well, there is need to have a unique policy. There is need to have an organized, formidable system. There is need to have a harmonized checking, monitoring, evaluation, assessing, and SWOT analysis, conduct strategy of the performance of those who are found wanting. And we need to start holding people accountable. When you appoint a divisional police officer, please, I'm sorry. When you appoint a police divisional officer, when you posted a local security officer that is a representative of the DSS in the local government, the local government commander of the civil defense, commandant or unit head of immigration and the rest of them, there is need to hold them accountable. I said it yesterday. I said it day before yesterday. I will say it today, and even tomorrow, if I'm breathing, I'll say it. Nobody is committing a crime against state that is unknown. Nobody is committing crime against state that cannot be traced. Nobody is committing or has been committing crime against states that has not been known by traditional leaders, the ward heads, the village heads, the district heads, and the emirates. They know them. They know all of them. They know where they are. They know where they sleep. They know who they interact. They know who are providing them with the social needs. They know who are providing them with social services. Me and you in Abuja, or I that now I am in Kano, I know that fuel is being sold at 1,200, 1,100. It depends on the fueling station. Some places 1,050 naira. But when you take a gallon, a liter of fuel to the forest, you are talking about 3,000 naira, 5,000 naira per liter. But still, these guys are getting access. So where are we having fueling stations? How are they getting the access of the fuel? Why have we not been able to kind of intercept or kind of put a bracket or put a measurable measure? So it is a policy issue because our leaders are not sincere. Most of them are not honest. Most of them, they don't have objective. Most of them get into the government houses and the seat of power without having an objective or what they want to achieve or what they want to address. Many of them make empty promises. So most of the borders are porous border, and there is no coordination between the public, the community, and the security operative. I just read reports, or I have been kind of intimated by many of the media houses in country and even outside the country, in respect to many of the border personnel who have not been paid their salaries or allowances for 3 years. I just been intimated by many local media and international media to affirm this and to also respond to it and to comment. So if at all we have this, how do you expect our border not to be porous? And there is a very high illegal movement of kind of money laundering that there are or registered BDCs at the border communities or registered BDCs even at the formal border. But because nobody is checking on them, those personnel that you refuse to pay their salaries and allowances for 3 years, you have to remember that they have family. You have to remember that they have girlfriends. You have to remember that they have wives. You have to remember that they have desire, they have to satisfy themselves. So how do they do that? They must find an alternative. That is why when you go to the border, you see custom officer pursuing rice. You see Nigerian army personnel pursuing rice. You see an immigration pursuing rice. You see civil defense pursuing rice. You see contraband pursuing rice. You see what do you call them? Any other personnel that is available at the border. Everybody is struggling with the smugglers of rice, smugglers of white oil, smugglers of spaghetti, smugglers of anything that is illegal. And many of the senior officers of both military, paramilitary, those who have been posted to those area of borders, you realize that they are in possession of very huge amount of money that nobody is checking. So corruption has become the business of the day. Corruption has become an institutionalized system operating in Nigeria. And we have, as far as we cannot do the needful in terms of finding a way of addressing and managing the issue of corruption that we are diving in. Any government that come to power will say that we will fight corruption. So who do you fight? How do you fight? Where do you fight? And how do you convince the public, the Nigerian citizenry, the Nigerian society, as indigents, that you are really fighting corruption while you are part of the corruption? At a time when leaders, when followers are finding it difficult, but you realize that leaders are buying cars, they are buying mansions, and the members of the State Assembly, National Assembly are being Senate, they are collecting huge amount of salary at a time when civil servants are struggling to have a minimum wage of 70,000 naira and the like. So who is fighting the corruption? Is it the corruption that is fighting us, or are we the ones fighting corruption? And almost even an ordinary person, a messenger, now knows how to collect bribe. So as far as we are not ready to fix these things, as far as we don't have system that will checkmate, as far as we don't have evaluating, tracking, and monitoring system that will help this situation to be fixed, definitely we are not going anywhere, and we will continue to be sinking. We will continue to be diving into the corruption, and then the security challenges will continue to expand. Will continue to cripple our economic activity, will continue to cripple our social activity, our educational activity, and the like, and so on and so forth.
All right, thank you very much, security analyst Yahuza Getso. You've really done justice on curbing insecurity in the Northwest. I want to say a very thank you to you and taking our time to discuss this matter on security. We thank you for your insights and expertise. Were truly valuable and really appreciate the knowledge we shared. All right, this is where we draw the curtain on security matters today. Join me again next week on this same station. I am your host, Kike Lomo Okeri. Good afternoon.